Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a great long weekend as well. Today is Monday, July the 7th. We have a lot of things to kind of go over coming to this week with that long weekend that we just had. We have a decent amount of news here in the pre-market. Tesla's moving. The Qs and SPY currently are retesting its previous all-time highs. We also do have the tariffs going into effect on August the 1st, so we'll kind of talk about that and how that's going to affect the market. Before we go on to the charts, we'll go into the weekly outlook here in a second. Good morning. What's up, everyone? Good morning. What's up, B Roots, KO, Daniela, Shadow, Wallace, Ven, Hanno, what's up? Good morning, Ryan, JT, Martin, Damien, Keith, Monty, Charles. Good morning, Wayne, Juan, Josh, Cuba, Trade, Nontali. What's up, Robert, Smart, Yaritzia. What's up, Vate? Good morning. What's up, everyone? Steven, Arthur, Ashley, Evan, Daniel, Caroline. What's up, Darth? What's up? Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Before we head on to the charts, let's talk about the weekly outlook. So this is going to be the weekly outlook for July the 7th to 11th. Let's kind of go over what we have for the red folder news coming into this week. So not too much red folder news this week. All we have is really Wednesday FOMC minutes. That's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Thursday, we do have unemployment. So not too much red folder news this week coming into the market. So with the markets being at all-time highs, as long as we maintain above key levels, the same game plan still applies for the past few months, right? We're going to be looking for major dips in the market for continuation towards the upside. So let's head on to the ES. So thesis for this coming week, right now you can see that all major indices and futures have hit all-time highs. This was my last level for the overall markets. What I'd like to see now is a reaction that we have off your previous all-time highs being the 6271. If we can maintain above the 6271, we can see the next push higher. If we break back underneath, next level is all the way back down in towards your 6200. So if we look at the ES chart, go on to the daily time frame. Key levels that we have here on the daily chart is really going to be this previous all-time highs level. So as you can see right here, this is your all-time highs that we hit last week. Now what we like to see is really this level hold for continuation towards the upside, right? This level essentially has to hold after having this really big push towards the upside. This is the level that we like to see base above for continuation towards the upside. If we go back onto the drawings, turn these back on, you can see, right, our 60 to 70 is the area that we like to see base, consolidate, and continue back towards the upside. If we end up breaking back underneath, right, there's a possibility we could see a reversal in the overall market. But as for now, with the daily candle closing above and consolidating above this level, I like to see this continue push back towards the highs. Let's go on to the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart, the key levels that I'm going to have coming into today is really just going to be the 6270. I'm also going to mark out your previous day highs here as well, which is going to be the 6330. That's going to be the key level that we're going to have marked out. And then I'm just going to have the gap fill, which is your 6290. And I'm also going to have marked out your pre-market high here as well. If I go on to the SPY chart, the key levels that I have marked out here is your previous day lows. So your previous day lows here on the SPY, which is your Friday's lows, your Thursday's lows. In this case, it was a half day. Plus I'm going to mark out your previous day highs being your 626. So coming into today here for the SPY, key levels we have is your 622.50 pre-market lows and also your previous day lows here as well. And then I also have your previous day high 626. So coming to this morning, as long as you maintain above your 622.50s, your previous day lows, I like to see this continue push back up in towards your previous day highs. Another possible scenario, you kind of just move right off the bat up and towards your previous day highs and this previous day close level here as well, 625. The only way I'm a little bit more short bias coming into this week is if we consolidate and we break back underneath. Now it's going to be your 622.50 pre-market lows and your previous day lows for potential continuation down in towards the high that we created here on Wednesday, which is your 620.50. So the only scenario I'm a little bit more short bias underneath your 622.50 coming into today, that's going to be a key pivot level. As for the QQQ, let's go into the NQ. So thesis coming into this week, NQ hit all-time highs last week, and now you can see that we're above your 22,840 key level. What I like to see moving forward is the reaction that we have off your previous all-time highs. What I like to see is NQ maintain above your 22,840 for continuation towards the upside. So similar thesis to the NQ here as the ES. As you can see right here, we're on the daily time frame. We hit your all-time highs last week as well, or we actually got above your all-time highs. Now we'd like to see it maintain above your all-time highs, which is going to be your 22,840. So if we go back onto the 1 hour time frame now, you can see so far we're using this level as a retest. So you can see we end up making a triple bottom last week, continuing towards the upside. We had a nice push here on Thursday. Now what we like to see is this level be used as a retest for this continued push back towards the upside. So for the overall markets, this is going to be our key pivot level. Our resistance turn into support as long as you can maintain above our 22. Now it's your 22,880. We can see this continue push back up and towards. It's going to be your previous day highs, which is now your all-time highs on the overall market. So that's the key levels I have marked out for the NQ coming into today. Other levels I can have marked out: all-time highs and your previous day highs. And now we can also mark out, it's going to be your pre-market key levels, which is as soon as we opened up, this is our key level 23,021. So that's our key level for the NQ. As for the QQQ, similar thesis for the QQQ. Levels that we have marked out today is going to be our previous day lows, which is our 552. So key levels that we have marked out, our previous retest level here on the higher time frames. This is the same level that is outlined here on the NQ, which is our 553. As long as you maintain above your 553, what I'd like to see is really this level hold for this push back up and towards your previous day close and above, being your all-time highs here on the QQQ. So coming into today, the levels I'm going to have marked out is going to be your previous day highs, which is your all-time highs, 557. And then we also have marked out very key pivot level from last week, as you can see right here, which is your 552. So for the QQQ coming into today, I am bullish as long as we remain above your 552.50. If you can remain above this level, I like to see continuation towards the upside, towards your previous day close, 555.50 and above being your previous all-time highs. I will flip bearish, or at least intraday bearish, if we can break underneath your 552.50. Until we can break underneath your 552.50, I'm going to look for major dips in the overall markets. If we can break underneath on a Monday, potentially I will flip a little bit more bearish, at least intraday, for a potential push down in towards your 550. So that's going to be the key level, 552.50 for the Qs. And then for the SPY, it's going to be your previous day lows, 622.50. So that's for the major indices. As I mentioned, we don't have any red folder news coming into today. I do expect all major dips to get bought up. So as long as the markets still hold key levels, in this case, it's going to be SPY previous day lows. For the QQQ, it's going to be key levels from last week. We can expect the markets to still continue higher. Let's go into Tesla. So for Tesla, we had delivery numbers last week. Key levels for Tesla now is your 290 and your 320 on the higher time frames. What I like to see is the reaction that we have off those levels. As for Tesla, we end up having news over the weekend, or right before the weekend, with with Elon and its political policy. So that's basically why you can see we had this drop in the pre-market, is because Elon is potentially trying to form a new political party. So you can see it's dropping here in the pre-market, down about 6%. If we look at the daily chart, as you can see right here, key levels that we have marked out really is this 290 key pivot level and also this 320. So these are the levels I have marked out, at least coming into last week. So we have this area. This is basically the area that it rejected from. We also did have delivery numbers last week as well. And now you can see Tesla is already right back down in towards your 290. So coming into today here for Tesla, the fact that it's down another 6%, what I'd like to see is the reaction that we have off your 294. So for Tesla, if we can maintain above your 294, potentially consolidate, we can see this potential mean reversion back towards the highs, right? With this gap down, we're right back at a key level support. You can see this potential move back towards the upside. So the key level is going to be this 292 if you do want to see buyers step in. The only way I do look for a potential kind of short position on Tesla is if it pops coming to market open, kind of consolidates in this general area, and then later into the session, we break underneath this 292. Now it's going to be your pre-market low and last week's lows as well for this push back towards the downside. So 292 is going to be a very key pivot level here for Tesla. Another possible scenario is an opening play right off the bat. I'll be a little bit more cautious on this one, but this is also still another scenario that you could be looking for as well. So 292 key pivot level on Tesla coming into today. It is in a very key level of support, so I'd be very cautious at least right off the bat. As I mentioned, I would be more interested if it consolidated and then broke later into the session. So key levels 292 on Tesla. Other levels here as well is going to be this 281 along with your 273 if we can break and hold underneath this 292. As for Nvidia, thesis for this coming week, Nvidia continuing to lead the market towards the upside. After having a nice retest off your previous all-time highs level, you can see that's where the buyers stepped in. What I'd like to see now is Nvidia maintain above the 152.50 for continuation towards the upside. So as you can see right here on Nvidia, the daily time frame, we're above your previous all-time highs level all the way back from January earlier of this year. And now you can see we end up using this as a retest. So you can see we broke above it and we end up using this nicely as a retest last week, right above our 152. And now you can see we're continuing back towards the upside. So for Nvidia, key levels that we have marked out, 153. Our previous all-time highs level that we ended up reclaiming for this nice continued push back towards the upside. Now what we have marked out here as well, which is your all-time highs from last week, which is going to be this 158.20. So key levels for Nvidia, as you can see, we end up breaking above here on Thursday and we tried holding above it, which we ended up doing. And now you can see we end up gapping down. So far, we are gapping down here in the pre-market. What I'd like to see is the reclaim back above your 158.50. So for Nvidia, key levels we'll have marked out 158.50. You can see we have multiple touches around this area. If we can reclaim back above your 158.50, I would like to see this continue push back towards the upside. So if I zoom in here, 158.50 is going to be very key. If we can reclaim back above this area, as I mentioned, we can see this continue push back up and towards your previous day close and potentially your previous day highs. Another scenario that we do have on Nvidia now is if it maintains underneath your 158.50, you could see this push back down in towards, it's going to be your pre-market low, so there's not too much room. But if you can get underneath, stay underneath your 158.50, we can see your 158.50s and potentially below. So key levels now we can have marked out 158.50, and we can also mark out your 157.50, which is a very key level here for Nvidia. So two key levels. I personally, as I mentioned, like to see the reclaim. It's going to be above your previous days, your previous all-time highs level, and this very key pivot level here as well. So that's what we have for Nvidia coming into today, right? The semiconductors still in the higher time frames are very much bullish, as you can see right here. SMH still has room towards the highs. Nvidia is one of the leaders on this push towards the upside with the overall market. So we'll keep an eye out on the semis continuation. Thesis coming to this week on Apple. Strong push on Apple last week after having news on Monday. What I like to see now is this reaction that we have off here 215. I like to see Apple above 215 and hold for a potential push towards your 220 and above, which we do have this daily gap. So for Apple, as you can see here on the daily time frame, we're finally starting to move here on Apple after having a lot of consolidation for the better part of the last couple of months. Apple finally starting to break outside this consolidation with news that we had last week as well. So key level is your 213. So on the daily chart, you can see how many touches we have off your 213 key level. If we can now get above your 213, we do have room up in towards, it's going to be your 220, which is this daily gap here on the higher time frame. So for Apple coming to today, key levels that I'm going to have marked out, as you can see, last week's highs, we also have your Wednesday's highs here marked out. If I get rid of this level, key levels, we can actually just refine some of our levels that we have. We have your 21340s, and we're also going to have your previous day highs marked out here as well. So we have a couple key levels on Apple. What I'd like to see now is the reclaim back above your 21350s. Hold for this push back up and towards the highs. Really, this is like the only scenario I'd like to see here on Apple. Another scenario, potential push all the way down and towards your previous day lows and hold for this push back towards the upside here as well. So for Apple, either scenario, I'm waiting for the reclaim back above your Wednesday's highs and also your key pivot level from Thursday here as well. So Apple higher time frames still very much intact. You can see the higher lows have been built. Every single dip so far has been bought up here on Apple. So as long as it maintains above your previous day lows, you like to see the continuation back towards the upside here on Apple. Let's go into the next chart that we do have AMD. So thesis for this week, AMD pulling back here after having a big push towards the upside. What I'd like to see on this name is the first dip will get bought up here on the daily time frame. The only level of support that I do have is all the way back from back towards the 128 key level. I'd like to see the pullback towards that level or the reclaim back above the 144. So if we go on to an AMD here on the daily chart, as you can see, this is what we have currently. Last week, a little bit of rejections here on AMD, lagging behind the semis and Nvidia after having this really big push, kind of this red to green move. But now what I really like to see is kind of the retest of your 130, right? This is your opening print. You can consider that at the very start of the year. So once this opened up, we end up having finally this red to green move. Now this is basically your retest level for this continued pushback towards the upside. So for AMD, the only levels I do have, let me actually, I guess I got rid of all of them. The levels I do have for AMD, at least this week, I'm just going to mark out your previous week's lows. And I'm also going to mark out this key level here as well, which is going to be your previous day highs. So key levels I have marked out on AMD is your 139.50s, and then we also have marked out as well your 135.50. So if you want to see some more upside, you're going to have to reclaim back above your previous day lows and continue up and towards your 140, and then you like to see the hold of your 140 for continuation. Another scenario right off the bat, continue push towards upside. As for downside on AMD, I'm only interested if you can get underneath your previous day lows and hold for potential continuation, or it's going to be underneath your 135.50, which is underneath your last week's lows. Then we do have a lot more room towards the downside underneath your 135.50 here on the higher time frame. So that's what we have for AMD coming into this week. Let's go into a few other tickers. Meta. Right now, you can see that Meta hit all-time highs. Last week is now having a reaction off that level. What I'd like to see is a reaction that we have now off that area that we broke out from, being your 705. So for Meta, if we go into the daily chart, you can see we ended up having a rejection last week off of your all-time highs level, your 740. So 740 rejection. This is the area that we broke out from, which is your 710. Now we like to see it maintain above your 710, build up these higher lows on the daily chart, and continue back up and towards your all-time highs. So for Meta, key levels that we have marked out really is this 710. I can mark this out as a bigger area, but it's basically the 710 area on the higher time frames. What I like to see now really is higher time frames, hold your 710 for this continued push back towards the upside. For on the lower time frames, levels that I do have marked out coming into today is going to be your 714, which you can see multiple touches from last week. Also, we're going to mark out this level here as well, which is the area we essentially broke down from. So 728, we'd like to see one of two things, right? The hold of your 710 for this push back higher, or now it's going to be the break back above, hold above your previous day highs, 728 for this continued push back towards the upside. Final name, at least on the tech side, I do have is Amazon. This is one of my favorite tickers coming to this week. Amazon breaking out of this consolidation last week and now is basing above your 218 key level. What I'd like to see on this name is the continuation higher into prime week. The hold of your 218 level is going to be key moving forward. So with Amazon, we do have prime week coming up. Now it's basing above key levels here as well. So you can see it's starting to break out. So on the daily time frame, nice break above your 218 last week, and now we're holding. You can see break, retesting, and now we're basing and continuing back towards the upside. We're right now above your last week's highs here as well, which is your 223.50s. So as long as we maintain above your 223.50s now, I would like to see a push back up and towards your 225 and above. So Amazon, one of my main watches coming into this week for continuation. We have our 223 marked out. We're also going to have marked out your previous day high here as well. Either scenario, I like to see, right, retest of your key levels for this continued push back up and towards your 225 and above. So levels 225, and then we can also mark out here, which is going to be these daily pivot highs all the way back from earlier of this year, February. So 226.80s, and then we also have your 230. So these are your key levels for Amazon coming into today. As long as we maintain above, now it's going to be this 223.50. We can expect some continuation back towards the upside here on Amazon. Okay. So yeah, that's it for some of the tech names here. Now, if you guys do have any, if you guys do have any tickers or charts that you'd like me to go over, I'll go over them now. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Also, other things to note as well, I'm going to start posting on Twitter more every day. I'm going to lay out my game plan. So I have my game plan, at least video-wise, on my WAP. So every single morning, if you guys haven't joined the watch list, you guys can do that in the description. But basically, that's a video format. As for the text, I'm going to start posting more charts and kind of my game plan on what I'm looking for on Twitter. So if you guys haven't followed my Twitter, you guys can do so. That one's also in the description. I'm going to post there every single day. All right, what's up, everyone? Let's see. Morning. Good morning. Let me go over some tickers here as well. Please answer my comment. I don't think you had a comment. In an uptrend where there are no key levels, will every down close candle be used as levels in an uptrend? Exactly. Every single, no matter if there's levels or not, right? Every single down close candle in an uptrend can be used to support price towards the upside. Let me go over some tickers. Palantir. Let me remove a few levels here as well. It's a little bit messy on this Palantir chart. Basically for Palantir, the key levels that I have marked out. Let me get rid of all these ones. Is this earnings high? So as you can see right here, what we have is this earnings high all the way back from May, earlier this year. So you can see this 130 key level. We have multiple touches, and now we're basing above this 130. So for Palantir, we're basing above this 130. What we like to see now is a reclaim back above. It's going to be this 136. So key levels I have drawn out here on Palantir. We can also redraw this level. I just got rid of it. But we have your 136. We also have here your 130 and this 133. So top of the range, we have equilibrium drawn out, and we also have your 130. What we like to see is the hold of your 130.50 for this push higher, or preferably the reclaim and hold above your 136 where this continue push back towards the upside. As for Palantir, this one's going to base a lot more now after having this pretty big push towards the downside, a little bit of rebalancing, but for Palantir now, we're going to consolidate a little bit more after this big push lower. And now eventually, once we're able to set back up above your 136, this is going to look a lot better for some more upside. As for now, key levels, you're just going to mark out, as I mentioned, 133, 136, and also your previous day highs and this 131. As for HIMS, similar kind of thesis. So HIMS, nice push back towards the highs, right? A little bit of a mean reversion. Now we're just basing above your 4690s. So for HIMS, this is a nice setup. I don't like it as much if you zoom out on the context, but as long as you can maintain above your 46, I'd like to see this continue push back towards the upside. So for HIMS, now it's going to be the hold of your 46. I personally would like to see it above your previous day highs for this continued push back up in towards your 51 here and above. So those are the levels I have for HIMS coming to today. Is now going to be your 4650, and we can also mark out your previous day highs here as well. That's going to be the level price has to reclaim if you want to see any sort of continued pushback towards the upside. As for IWM, this one's finally breaking out here on the daily chart. So you can see IWM starting to finally have this nice push higher after building up these higher lows. All major indices are at all-time highs. IWM now breaking above key levels. What I would like to see is every single down close candle be respected. So levels 223 along with your 226. If we go back onto the hourly chart now, you can see we are trending here on the 1 hour time frame. What I'd like to see now is really the reaction that we have off your 220.50, and then for other levels we have marked out, it's going to be your previous day's low. So we have this level marked out that we can drag over, right? 221.80s. I like to see this level hold for this continue push back up and towards your previous day close and above, which is going to be this 223. So level today for IWM is going to be your 221.80s. Let me go over some other names here. CRWV. This one I always have. I have some other marks out. But CRWV, you can see still holding up. Overall higher time frames now on the daily chart, potential kind of inverse, head and shoulders forming. So the key level for CRWV is going to be this 165.20s. If you go back onto the hourly chart now, as you can see right here, very key point of interest is going to be your 165. If we can reclaim back above this level, it will invalidate this head and shoulders, and that will be very bullish for continuation. If we end up confirming this head and shoulders, next level is going to be all the way back down in towards your 150 here on CRWV. As for TEM, this one's looking nice here as well, kind of basing above your IPO high level. Key levels now for TEM, after a lot of this consolidation, at least on the daily time frame, is this 72. But currently, we're consolidating here in the past kind of month on the daily chart. We actually recently just broke underneath your key levels last week, which is your 64. And now you can see we're coming back down in towards the low of the range, which is this 58. So not too much to talk about on this one on a daily time frame perspective. If you're looking at this on the 1 hour time frame perspective here as well, not too much to talk about either. But key levels, you're going to have drawn out 58.90s, and then really the area that we broke out from, which is your 61.50. So if you want to see some upside, it's going to have to be above your previous day highs. You could also see a potential kind of pop and fade off this level here as well for a push down towards your 59. So those are the levels you're going to have marked out. As for Big Bear AI, this one still holding up here on the higher time frame. So every single dip has been bought up. You can see the daily time frame shaping up nicely here as well. So for this ticker, as long as you maintain above, now it's going to be your 720. So 720 is your level of support. I personally would like to see the reclaims. So in this case, I would like to see now the reclaim back above your 780. So your 780 is key for me. If we're on the 15-minute time frame here, I like to see reclaim back above your 780 for this continued push back up and towards your previous day highs here and above. So 780 is a very key level. Let me actually fix my mic here. As for Coinbase overall higher time frame still bullish here as well, reclaiming key levels. Coinbase for me is your 348. So base above your 348, we can see this continue push back up and towards. Now it's going to be this 368. This one along with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin currently basing above key levels. Bitcoin now, at least with the overall market pushing towards your all-time highs, Bitcoin's already at all-time highs, but we've been consolidating here, at least on the higher time frames, for a while now, right around this 100,000 key psych level. What I would like to see here on Bitcoin now is the potential continuation. If you can have a daily candle closure, a strong daily candle closure above, now it's going to be this 100,000 key psych. We can see that next leg towards the upside here on Bitcoin. So for Bitcoin, we're waiting for a strong weekly candle closure on the higher time frames that will push coin up here if you can get that continuation now back up and towards your all-time high. So for coin, based off that Bitcoin thesis, you'd like to see it maintain above. Now it's going to be this 348 for continuation higher. All right, let me scroll down here. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Can you do the M2K chart? Not exactly sure. Is that a ticker? You must get up at 4 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, I'm over in the Eastern Standard Time, so not that bad. If you're in the Pacific time, then it would be a lot earlier, actually. What's up? Good morning from Colombia, Microsoft. Let me go over a few more here. As for Hood finally hit one of my main objectives, 100 key psych. Hopefully some of you guys were able to capture this one, but super solid push up on Hood. Now we already hit 100. As for the next levels, really, I'm going to have to draw out some Fibonacci's, but for Hood, 100 key psych level finally hit. You can see now a little bit of reaction above your 100, and now we're having a little bit of a pullback here. Key levels for Hood, if you want to see some more continuation still, is now going to be the reclaim back above your 94.50. So for Hood, it's going to have to reclaim back above this level for continuation back towards the upside. If you maintain underneath your 94.50s, potentially we could see your last week's lows, which is all the way back down in towards your 90 key psych. As for Oracle, key levels I'm going to have marked out is going to be your previous day highs. So this one's breaking out towards the upside once again. Higher time frame is looking very solid. You can see every dip so far getting bought up. Once we had earnings, you can now see right previous resistance turn into support very nicely right off your 216. And now we're having this really strong push towards the upside. So for Oracle, we're basing now the next key levels that we're going to have marked out 228, and now we're also going to have marked out previous day lows here as well, 232. So as long as you maintain above key levels, which in this case 232, we like to see Oracle continue towards the upside. So levels we can have marked out, let me just mark this out really quickly, is going to be your previous day lows in combination with your Wednesday's highs. And then we can also mark out now it's going to be your previous day highs, 237. So a few scenarios here on Oracle. We either have your retest of your 234 for a push back up and towards your 237, right? Push right off the bat above your previous day highs, 237 for a continuation. Or if it has even a bigger pullback, you can be looking for the dip down in towards your previous day lows, 231 for this continued push back towards the upside. X, not Twitter. Yeah. I don't know. I'm so used to calling it Twitter, but yeah, X. Go over hood, MicroStrategy. Similar thing, similar thesis with MicroStrategy. Higher time frames, starting to trying to break out here outside this consolidation. Key levels for MSTR is going to be this 407. So until we can break above this 407 and hold, I expect it to be inside this range. So 407, a very key level coming to this week. As for OKLO, this one, a little bit of a pullback here after finally hitting your all-time highs. Now what we like to see is really the reclaim back above. It's going to be the 60 key level here on the daily chart. So you can see at least on the 1 hour chart, we tried reclaiming back above plenty of times. We're just back into the area that we originally broke out from with news back earlier from June. So now that we've swept this low and now we're trying to hold this level, I'd like to see this continue push back up and towards your 59 here on OKLO. So key levels today that I'm going to have marked out is going to be your previous day's highs. And you can see this is also the area that we broke down from. So you can see level of support. Now you can see turning to resistance here on Thursday. You like to see break above your 54.50, hold above that level for this continue push back towards the upside. As for Circle, this one, recent IPO, finally pulling back, losing a little bit of momentum here, but key levels for Circle, now that we're going to have marked out, let me just get rid of these ones. We have a couple key levels here on Circle. So for Circle, now I'm going to just draw this key pivot level. It's a little bit bigger, but I'm just going to actually draw this one out down and towards this, which is your 188. So we have multiple touches here on Circle coming into this week off your this is your 190. You can see multiple touches here. Now we're basing above this level here on Circle 190. I like to see the hold for this push back up and towards your pre-market highs and above. So this is the level here for Circle 190. If you can hold above 190, next levels is really all the way back up and towards it's your 200 key psych and this 206 here on Circle. All right, let me scroll down here as well. What's your WAP recovery? Yeah, I actually just got this not too long ago. I had like the Aura ring. I don't know. I like both of them. I think the WAP's a little bit more cooler, but it tracks more features as well. At least for sleep, I track my sleep, so it's important. At least when you're trading, it's good to kind of track your sleep performance just so you have a good idea of where your kind of mental state is, especially coming into the market and also during the market as well. All right, let me scroll down here. Google, yeah, don't spam Google, but let me go over this one. So as for Google, key levels we have is your 178. We also have your 181 here as well. So for Google coming into this week, I would like to see really they'll reclaim and hold above your 181. Also have other levels here as well, which is your 180. So above your 180, you can see your 181. Above your 181, we can see your 182.50s. So that's a level we have on Google coming into today. If you don't reclaim back above any levels, then we're just going to consolidate in this general area. So reclaim above your 181 is going to push this higher. As for Microsoft, key levels that we have in this case is your all-time highs. Now we're reclaiming back above this level here in the pre-market your 498. As long as you maintain above your 498, we can see this continue push back up and towards your all-time highs, your 550 here on Microsoft. So those are the key levels you have on Microsoft and Google. Question about Hood. It's not a part of the S&P 500, so it doesn't make sense to track indices along with it. So yeah, basically, if you're trading Hood, right, it's not a part of any major indices, so it got snubbed out of the S&P 500. So this one's a standalone. So you can track it compared to the SPY and Qs, but generally speaking, it's going to move on its own because it's not a part of the major indices. So you won't put as much emphasis as if it were a part of the S&P 500. So that's why it's very volatile. You can see it has really big moves just because number one, daily time frame breakout, and we're at all-time highs. That's one of the major things. Plus, we had news as well. Quick question, Nvidia, if we were to have the 5 and 15-minute range playing out today towards the upside, can I actually trade the buy, or do we need those lows to be tested first for Nvidia? So really for Nvidia, we need the reclaim. So we need the reclaim above your 158.60. So it doesn't matter, at least if it happens within the first 5 or 15 minutes. Regardless, we're going to have to get the reclaim above your 158.60 for continuation. So let's say if the first 5 minutes was very bullish, then we could be looking for the 5-minute retest above this level. If it was, this is the first 15-minute candle, then similar thing. We need it above your 158.60 for this continued push higher. Any thoughts on Netflix? This one's just going to continue higher, at least technically speaking. Higher time frames, all dips are getting bought up. For Netflix, key levels that we do have is going to be this 1300. So this one's at all-time highs. I don't expect, unless we have crazy earnings, I don't expect it to do that much and just continue back towards the upside. Good morning. How are you doing? Is it possible? Yeah, I already went over AMD. I already went over most of these tickers. As for AMD, the key levels is going to be this 139.60, also this 135 here as well. Please share all the charts with us. Yes, I will do that. Please enable translation into other language. I'm not sure if that's a feature that you can do on YouTube. I'm not sure if there is closed captions because it is live. At least for YouTube videos, you can put in the transcript, but at least for YouTube's, it is live. So I'm not sure if there is a translation. Okay. Let me go over some of my top watches and then I will get ready for market open. So coming into today, as I mentioned, so today the key levels is going to be this 552 here on the QQQ. I would really like to see the reaction that we have off this level. As for the SPY, key level that I have marked out, previous day lows 622.50. As for the NQ, similar thesis, it's going to be above or the reaction that we have off your 22,900. It's a pretty big level here. This is based off the 1 hour time frame, but this is the level here that we have for the NQ that we'd like to see the reaction off of. As for the ES, looks a little bit different in this case. ES key levels that we have is really your low that we created on Thursday, which, as you can see right here, is going to be your 6292, your previous day low on Friday. So we like to see the reaction. Currently, you can see it just came up and touched your after hours or your overnight session highs, which is your Sunday once the market opened. Now we're going to have a little bit of a pullback here. As for my top watches coming into today, we'll keep an eye out on Tesla. Tesla right into a key level of support. So we'll see if there's any sort of potential kind of bounce in this mean reversion back up and towards your previous day close. I'm not too interested in shorting Tesla, at least right off the bat. I'll be much more interested if it consolidated and potentially later into the session broke underneath this 292.50s. As for Nvidia and the semiconductors, I'm still very much bullish on the semis. So what I would like to see on Nvidia is the reclaim back above your 158.50. As for some other names that I do like, Apple, if we can reclaim back above your 213.50. My favorite watch is going to be Amazon. So this one has Prime Week daily time frame breaking out here as well. So this is my favorite ticker for continuation this week towards the upside. It's going to be a hold above your 223.50 for continuation higher on Amazon. As for a few other names here as well, it's going to be Apple. Yeah, I already went over Apple. It's going to be above your 213.50. And then for other ones, Google, you like to see above your 181. And then AMD, you like to see it above your 139.50. So main ones today for me is going to be Amazon, hold above your 223.50. Apple, if you can get above your 213.50, continuation from last week. And then, of course, the semiconductors are still very bullish. Overall, SMH, continuing towards your all-time highs. We actually hit your all-time highs here on Friday on the SMH. So for SMH, we hit your major objective, which was your all-time highs, 283.15. Now for the SMH, we just like to see the reaction that we have off your 280.50 along with this 280. So SMH, I personally would like to see it hold and continue back up and towards your all-time highs, 283. So that's what we have for at least the overall markets for the SMH and the rest of the tickers. I do like on the other side as well, coin and a few other semiconductors. SoFi still looks good. Coin looks good if we can base above this 348. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, I'm going to start posting my game plan on Twitter. So if you haven't, or X, sorry, if on X. So if you guys haven't followed me on there, you guys can do so. And then of course, I do have that free watch list, that video that's also in the description below. So that's going to be it for me today. Hope you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub, and I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right. Take care, everyone.